Ta-da! Call on Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Rakakwadash. Call on Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Rakakwadash. First and foremost, we're going to say all praises to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Rakakwadash, the great Ali Shaddai of Israel, the great I am, the possessor of heaven and earth, and of the spirits of heaven and earth. Come before you in the name of Yahweh Shai, the Adonai, the Hamashiach, the light of this world, the one who died and rose to sit to become his Father's royal, holy right arm, my Redeemer, my Comforter, and my salvation. And only one that plead his blood over Israel, the only nation, granted for salvation. Hallelujah. And giving all respect to the holy prophets, which are the great apostles, great millstone, GMS, who give me the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and give us brothers the wisdom and knowledge and understanding, the sisters as well, for the times that are ahead, and preparing us for those of us that will make it. Hopefully I'm among the elect, to meet Yahweh Shai at his coming, and to be beamed up, and to, you know what I'm saying, make it off this world and survive the great and terrible day. And giving shout outs to much respect to the Akim, the brothers that's out there laboring the truth. You follow Great Millstone even though you're not from it, and you listen to their classes, and you listen to their breakdowns, and you allow them to lift you up. Shalom to those beautiful brothers that's not only out in the highways and byways, you bring it in at home. Bring it out at home. I said bring it in. Bring it out at home. And shout out to the Aqua, the beautiful women that are in the truth, regardless if you got a man or not. You still fear the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh, and you learn in silence. Coming back at you with another video, and it's gonna be kind of a short video because I got something to do, and my presentation is not prepared, you know what I'm saying, so it take time for me to do all that presentation, be prepared, you know what I'm saying, bringing out videos, but the subject of today is, are you ready for the end? That is what I'm gonna call the title of my presentation. So we're gonna go to the first account of the end. And it is very important, you know what I'm saying, because the end was destructive, massive, very powerful, and nobody knew that it would happen until it came upon them. So we gonna get that. We're gonna get that. All right, now we're gonna go into Genesis. Genesis chapter 6, verse 1. And if you understand the power of Yahweh Hashem Al-Shai, you understand the spirit of the Lord. The end happened at the beginning. That's how bad the evil was. That's how bad our wickedness was. Before, you know what I'm saying, before any of all this was, you know what I'm saying, we had divine power, we had divine rulership. It was Israelites and the nations, you know what I'm saying, and they were all dark-skinned race, and during these times, the same thing that happened right now is the same thing that happened in the beginning of the world, where it triggered the end time at the beginning. They don't believe. They're very wicked. Our people are very rebellious. They know the name of Yahweh. They know the name of Yahweh, but they refuse to embrace it. They refuse to come back, which is causing the wrath of the Lord to break out again. But this one was pretty gruesome. So we can read some of that, because the same thing that's happening in the future, it happened in the past. It says, now it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. It says, and Yahweh said, my spirit shall not thrive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh. So now when it says the sons of God, it's not talking about fallen angels. That's where a lot of people is they pretty much mixed up. I was even mixed up in all the fallen angel crap. And like an iron to some wrinkly pants, and you gotta iron the creases out. That's exactly what the prophets did to me, and did to certain others as well. So the sons of God is only talking about Israelites. You know what I'm saying? The daughters of men is the same way. They're talking about how they multiplied on the earth. That's just how it goes. Simple as that. Something so complicated that can be turned into something so complicated that could be so simple. And it was that simple. It was so simple it made me feel stupid, but that's because the spirit wasn't on me to understand the book. It says, and Yahweh said, my spirit shall not thrive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. So instead of you living, so back then they were able to live a little longer than, what we live today. So now, back in those days, they can literally live to 100 or to 200 years old, But when Yahweh saw the great wickedness and the things that was happening, God started removing blessings from us, during that time in the beginning, and removing our power, stripping our power, because you pretty much an immortal when you reach damn near 200 to 300 years old, and this is figuratively speaking about that age, so that's the time when you were old, when you reach 200 to 300 years old, now you're old, but now it's even worse in our time, because we got our people are barely reaching 12 years old, barely, some of us dying in the womb, some of us won't even reach 60 years old, from the curses that's been put on us. So God was taking those blessings away when he saw that we were becoming more and more wicked, and doing things that were unlawful in the eyes of Yahweh. It say there were giants. Giants is only a famous name for the Israelites. There were giants on the earth in those days. People get this mistranslated and think it was actual gigantic beings, and it wasn't. The giants is a famous name for the Israelites, and that's all. Meaning that they was famous. It says in those days, and also afterwards, exactly, when the sons of Yahweh came and the daughters of men, and they bore children to them, those who were the mighty men of old, men of renown. So that's the Israelites. Simple as that. It says, then Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was evil continually. Yep, like right now. The majority of us do think evil thoughts, do think evil ways, godless ways, things that are not right in the eyes of the Lord. It's now the same way as it back then, today. It says, and Yahweh was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. So Yahweh said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man, beast, creeping thing, and birds of the air, for I am sorry that I have made them. Right, it made God mad. So God said, I'm just going to wipe them off the face of the earth. It says, but Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahweh. So Noah was the last prophet on the earth. So it says, this is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was just a man, perfect in his generations, who walked with Yahweh. And Noah begot 3 sons. Shem, our line comes from Shem, and or you could say Shemitic, but it comes from the line of Shem, the good son. Ham, which is the Hamites today, the wicked that got cast out, you know what I'm saying? Because their father had cursed them because he was laughing at them for being naked. They got Ham, and Ham is the wicked, you know what I'm saying? And they no longer a part of you know what I'm saying, being our brother, they just another nation from the curse that's been put on them. It says, and Japheth is legend has it they was the Hawaiians, and Japheth is a good son as well. So but most importantly, we come through the line of Shem. So it says, the earth also was corrupt before Yahweh, and the earth was filled with violence. Yep, with all kinds of chaos, people killing each other, murdering each other, sodomy, wickedness, drugs, idol worship, godlessness, fighting over power, over rulership. We became very corrupted in the beginning. So it says, so Yahweh looked on the earth, and indeed it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. And everybody knew the name of Yahweh, but they didn't want to come back to the Lord. And Yahweh said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. With the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood, and make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside and outside with pitch. And this is how you shall make it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits. And legend has it took him like 100 years to make the ark, or more, because the time was different back then, time, age, you know what I'm saying? Everything was different back then from now today. It says, and this is how you shall make it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. You shall make a window for the ark, and you shall finish it to a cubit above, and set the door of the ark on its inside. In its side you shall make it with lower, second, and third decks. And behold, I myself am bringing flood waters of the earth, to destroy from under heaven all flesh, in which there is the breath of life. So if you read the book of Job, he does talk about the springs of the deep. So these springs of the deep is deep. Hey man, it's a lot of water. You know what I'm saying? In the ground, it's a lot of water everywhere on the earth, man. And there's a reason for that, man. Especially during these times, those deep springs God had opened up, and they broke through. You know what I'm saying? From the underground, and they was springing out and causing big ass tsunamis, causing big ass floods. You wouldn't want to see something like this at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? If you were there during your lifetime, I feel sorry for them niggas that was there during the first time that the world ended. You wouldn't want to see no shit like this, man. Tornadoes dropping down on the ground, big hurricanes stirring up big ass water, earthquakes because of the water is coming up from the ground, heavy rains, gigantic thunder. Oh man, God really did a number in the beginning. So, and only left 8 people to survive the entire end of the world. It says, and behold, I myself am bringing flood waters on the earth, to destroy from under heaven all flesh, in which is the breath of life. Everything that is on the earth shall die. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall go into the ark, you and your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives with you. And of every living thing of all flesh you shall bring 2 of every sort into the ark, to keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female, of the birds after their kind, of the animals after their kind, and of every creeping thing of the earth after its kind. 2 of every kind will come to you to keep them alive. And you shall take for yourself of all food that is eaten, and you shall gather it to yourself, and it shall be for you and for them. It says, thus Noah did according to all Yahweh commanded him. So he did. And Yahweh, and then you got to understand, Noah was a prophet, so he was preaching the word of Yahweh. That's why Yahweh said, it says, but Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahweh, because he was still preaching the word in a world full of madness, and nobody would listen. Nobody didn't care. And he was the only prophet in the entire planet, and the only believer, you know what I'm saying, in the entire world. So it says, thus Noah did according, that's how great the evil, how great the darkness was, how demonic, you know what I'm saying, the world was. And Noah represent the prophets, you know what I'm saying, now today, because they're the only ones that speaking and got the light, you know what I'm saying, in the world of darkness. The world is the same way as it was in the beginning. It says, as in the days of Noah, so too shall come the Son of Man. So it's the same way back then, man. You got very few people holding the light in the realm of darkness, man. So demonic spirits, you know what I'm saying, murderers, Satanists, you know what I'm saying, hypocrites, liars, bums, thieves, prostitutes, sodomites, you know what I'm saying, gay people, gangbangers, crackheads, drug addicts, party goers, but it's not of God. So the same thing that happened in the past, the same thing that's happening in the future. So it says, thus Noah did according to all Yahweh commanded him. So he did. Then Yahweh said to Moses, come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. You shall take with you 7 of each clean animal, a male and his female, two each of animals that are unclean, a male and his female. Also 7 each of the birds of the air, male and female, to keep them the species alive on the face of the earth, face of all the earth. For after 7 more days I will cause it to rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and I will destroy from the face of the earth all living things that I have made. And Noah did according to all Yahweh commanded him. Now it says Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters were on the earth. See, I told you, even though I used the example, 300 wasn't close to how old Noah was. I told you it took Noah over 100 years to build the ark, man. It took him a long time to build the ark. And Yahweh had told him before time that the flood was coming, and he was telling everybody, but everybody laughed at him. Nobody believed. Everybody made fun of him. People ignored him. It ain't no flood. It hasn't rained. It hasn't rained in a long time. It's not gonna rain. And when it rained, and it wasn't a normal rain, you know what I'm saying? It probably rained every now and then, but not normal rain like that, you know what I'm saying? And the rain dumped out, like it said, it was like the second, because we call the sky the second ocean, you know what I'm saying, in the Bible. So it's when the Lord say he opened up the windows of heaven, he let all that water down, and that's a lot of water. You wouldn't want to see something like that. It was that destructive, man. And tornadoes pumping down and water falling down and big ass amounts of water to where people, couldn't breathe, people panicking, people realizing that the flood water, it won't stop. 3 to 4 days later, it keep filling up. 2 to 3 weeks later, it's almost full. People running up to the top of the mountains, people hiding in gigantic ass castles that's, or what they call skyscrapers today, that castles that they thought could pierce heaven, you know what I'm saying, was that tall, but it still got swallowed up. The tallest mountains, like good examples, like mountains that's bigger than St. Helen and Yellowstone, you know what I'm saying, big ass mountains, you know what I'm saying, they got covered up, and people was climbing to the top of the mountains regardless. They was dying from the cold. They was dying to get to the top of these mountains, and the flood still came up more and more and swallowed those mountains until heaven and earth were together. You know what I'm saying? It blurred the line. You couldn't tell where the earth was. The earth was so deep down. The earth was so deep down and so swallowed up by the flood, it looked like the heavens and the earth became one. That's how destructive it was. It says Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters were on the earth. So Noah with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives went into the ark because of the waters of the flood, of clean animals, of animals that are unclean, of birds and everything that creeps on the earth. 2 by 2 they went into the ark of Noah, and male and female, as Yahweh had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth, and the 600th year of Noah's life. He was very old. It says, in the 602nd month, the 7th day of the month, on the day that the fountains of the deep, of the great deep, because there's a lot of water at the bottom of the earth. At the bottom of the earth, beneath the crust, it's a lot of water down there. A lot of water, like dark water, old water. So it says, were broken up, and the windows of heaven were open. Yep. The two oceans came together. It says, and the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On that very same day, Noah and Noah's son Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Noah's wife, And the 3 wives of his sons with them entered the ark, they and every beast after its kind, all cattle after their kind, every creeping thing that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird of every sort. It says, and they went into the ark 2 by 2, all flesh, in which is the breath of life. So those that entered, male and female of all flesh, went in as Yahweh commanded him, and Yahweh shut him in. Now the flood was on the earth 40 days. The waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. The waters prevailed greatly increased. The waters prevailed and greatly increased on the earth, and the ark moved about on the surface of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly on the earth, and all the high hills under the whole heaven were covered. The waters prevailed 15 cubits upward, and the mountains were covered, and all flesh died that moved on the earth, birds and cattle and beasts and every creeping thing that creeped on the earth, and every man, all whose nostrils was the breath of the spirit of life, all that was on the dry land died. So he destroyed all living things which were on the face of the ground, both man and cattle, creeping thing and bird of the air. They were destroyed from the earth. Only Noah and those who were with him in the ark remained alive. And the waters prevailed on the earth 150 days. It says, then Yahweh remembered Noah and every living thing and all the animals that were with him in the ark. And Yahweh made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters subsided. It says the fountains of the deep and the windows of heaven were also stopped. Yep, the fountains of the deep after the windows of heaven shut, and the fountains of the deep sucked all that water up. It says, and the rain from heaven was restrained, and the waters receded continually from the earth. At the end of the 150 days, the waters decreased. That's right. So, I hope you're ready for the end, because we're going to go to the end real quick. Get you some of these verses from the end, from the book of Revelations. Because that was the end at the beginning. Now look at the end man. Ain't no joke, man. And people like to laugh. People like to talk shit. People like to say that it ain't going to happen. Wait till you see the look on their faces, man. Wait till you see they fucking faces. Now I want to get to the chaos real quick. This one, the seals. It says, Revelations chapter 6, verse 1. It says, now I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard one of the 4 living creatures saying with a loud voice like thunder, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a white horse, who sat on it had a bow, and a crown was given to him. That's Yahushai. And he went out conquering and to conquer. When he opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature saying, come and see. Another horse, fiery and red, went out, and it was granted to the one who sat on it to take a piece from the earth, and that the people should kill one another, and there was given to him a great sword. That's the white man, the fiery red horse. Let's talk about different times in history too. It says, when he opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, come and see. So I looked, and behold, a black horse. He who sat on it had a pair of scales in his hand. And then I heard in the midst of the four living creatures saying, a quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius. Do not harm the oil and the wine. So this one was this verse right here was for World War One. The prophets had broke down and described it. When he opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the living creature saying, "Come and see." So I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and the name of him who sat on it was Death, and Hades followed with him, and power was given to them over a fourth of the earth, to kill with sword, with hunger, and with death, and by the beast of the earth. And the nations followed. That's the white man, and the beast of the earth is the nations. It says, when he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar of the souls of those who had been slain for the word of Yahweh and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, how long, O Yahweh, holy and true until you judge and avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth? It says, then a white robe was given to each of them, and it was said to them that they should rest a little while longer, until both the number of their fellow servants and their brethren who would be killed as they were was completed. It says, that's the 2/3. They say, I looked when he opened the sixth seal, and behold, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became like blood. And that's those nuclear bombs, because the nuclear bomb is going to cause the nuclear events are going to cause worldwide earthquakes. And the stars of heaven fell to the earth as a fig drops its late fig when it is shaken by a mighty wind. The stars of heaven, these nuclear bombs look like stars falling to the earth. It says, then the sky receded as a scroll when it is rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved out of its place. And the kings of the earth, the great men, the rich men, the commanders, the mighty men, and every slave and every free man hid themselves in the caves and in the rocks of the mountains. Yep. They tried to hide in bunkers. Some of them had bunkers, and some of them had high-tech bunkers, and the elites, and even some of these poor niggas, they managed to get into a bunker during these times, the ones that's not going to be saved. It says, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. So that's the people that know that realize that everything that the prophets was telling them, and that was preaching to them, they realized that it was all true, because our people are so stupid. They're not going to realize. They're going to go through Jacob's trouble, the MOTB. When they get to the MOTB, they're going to have to know that this is real, But still, you got some of us that's going to reject it. And they going to deny Yahweh, and they going to deny the Lord. Because the more and more these things come into play, the more and more our people are going to deny it. Nope, it's not real. I can't believe this has happened. I still don't believe. That's how they dumbass is going to be. And then when they get to the nuclear event, that's when some of them going to break. Some of them going to break, some not. Esau, he going to try to hold his own, and he going to get his ass whooped. He going to get destroyed. He going to get folded up. And the rest of his elites, the white man, they going to go into captivity, slavery. So it says, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne, and from the for the wrath of the Lamb. It says, for the day of his wrath has come, and who is able to stand? That's right. Can you stand before the Lord? No, you can't. It says, after these things I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, north, south, east, west, behold, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth or on the sea or any tree. Meaning that the nuclear bombs and all the chaos won't let off until the elect are sealed. It says, then I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living Yahweh. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels to whom it was granted to harm the earth and the sea, saying, do not harm the earth and the sea or the trees till we have sealed the servants of Yahweh our God on their foreheads. And I heard the number of those who were sealed, 144,000 from all the children of Israel were sealed. Ain't nobody else going. I don't know why the fuck they keep saying that everybody can make it and the white man can make it when the Bible clearly tells you only the children of Israel are going. The elect among them, the 2/3 gonna stay, they gonna die with the white man. But the elect among them, which are the 144,000, they will be taken. They gonna be called up with Yahweh when the chariots get here and Yahweh makes his great debut with the angels and all that, and they gonna take the 144,000 and kill everybody else during the great nuclear day. All this during the great nuclear day. It says after these things, and that's the 144,000 chart right there, all the way up. After these things I looked, and behold, a great multitude which no one could number, of all nations, tribes, peoples, and tongues, standing before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes, with palm branches in their hands, and crying out with a loud voice, saying, salvation belongs to Yahweh, who sits on the throne, and to Yahushua the Lamb. All the angels stood around the throne, and the elders and the four living creatures. These are a lot of angels, a grand amount of angels, on both good and both bad, because they was a part of a whole design, the plan. That says, and fell on their faces before Yahweh and worshiped, saying, Amen, blessed and glory and wisdom, thanksgiving, honor, and power and might be to Yahweh Shema Shai forever and ever. Amen. That's right. So I want to go to the part where, okay, here it go. It says, then one of the elders saying to me, it says, who are these arrayed in white robes, and where did they come from? It says, and I said to him, sir, you know. So he said to me, these are the ones who come out of the great tribulation, and washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. That's the ones that came back. It says, therefore they are before Yahweh and the throne of Yahweh, and serve him day and night in his temple, and he who sits on the throne will dwell among them. And that's talking about the ones, the prophets, the people that passed, and you know what I'm saying, Yahweh had got them. It says, they shall neither hunger anymore nor thirst anymore. The sun shall not strike them, nor any heat, because God had redeemed them from the earth and brought them up in the chariots during these nuclear times. It says, for the Lamb who is in the midst of the throne will shepherd them and lead them to the foundation, the fountains of waters, and Yahweh will wipe away every tear from their eyes, because the Israelites suffered. But this is the time where we walk into godhood. It says, when he opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven for about half an hour. That's the intermission. And the prophets described the intermission as a break. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got a break for a half an hour. It was just a break. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, everybody get a break. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like a movie that John was seeing. You know, so it was like a break, and then everybody went back into their places and everything happened. It's the intermission. You know, it says, and I saw the 7 angels who stand before Yahweh, and to them were given 7 trumpets. Then another angel having a golden censer came and stood at the altar. He was given much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar, which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense with the prayers of the saints ascended before Yahweh from the angel's hand. Then the angel took a censer, filled it with fire from the altar, and threw it to the earth. And there were noises, thunderings, lightnings, and an earthquake. That's a nuclear bomb. It says, so the 7 angels who had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and hail and fire followed, mingled with blood, and they were thrown to the earth, because that's how powerful the nuclear event is going to be. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be blood scattered. It's going to be fire raining down from the earth, literal fire, big ass. Instead of water, it's going to be big ass fire droplets and big ass fireballs coming from the nuclear bombs. And like I said, the earth is going. It's going to be a great earthquake. So the earth is going to wobble like you were standing in water. That's how powerful they are. It's going to wobble like you looking at the ocean wobble. That's how the earth going to wobble. So it says the seven angels who had the seven trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and hail and fire followed, mingled with blood, and they were thrown to the earth. And a third of the trees were burnt up, and all the green grass was burnt up. Then the second angel sounded, and something like a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into the sea, and the third of the sea became like blood. So you got the sons of God, the sons of men, and then the sons of the wicked. So the third is talking about the white people, because the white people ain't gonna be saved at all. The nations ain't gonna be saved at all. They're gonna die here during the great nuclear day, along with our brothers and sisters, the 2/3. But the third is talking about the white man and his people, the wicked. They gonna die horribly. It's gonna be horrible, man. And the elites of their people, they gonna survive, let their people die. But guess what? The elites are gonna become the first fruits of slavery. So, you know, they not gonna die. They gonna suffer a great deal. They gonna be getting 1,000-year slavery with their ass. But the rest of their children and their people, you know what I'm saying, and the nations that were once dark-skinned races that are white and taken over, the whole damn thing gonna get they gonna burn alive. They gonna get blown away by flame tempests, man. Nuclear hurricanes, nuclear weather, acid air, you know. Everything gonna turn red and green and just melt before your fucking eyes, man. And all you gonna do is try to take cover against something you can't even protect yourself from. And then to make matters worse, Yahweh Shai and the angels gonna come during the great nuclear day, so everybody gonna flip out. There's gonna be mayhem on this day. Like, that's why I said, are you prepared for the end? Because it's coming. The nuclear bombs, they didn't make them for no reason. They meant to end all life on earth. It says, and a third of the living creatures in the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. It says, then the third angel sounded, and a great star from heaven fell, burning like a torch, and it fell on the third of the rivers and on the third of the water. The name of the star is Wormwood. Wormwood is the nuclear bomb, okay? It says, a third of the waters became wormwood, and many men died from the water because it was made bitter, because the water was radiated. The sea's gonna boil. It says then all the seas around the world gonna boil. They gonna boil and probably turn fucking green and fucking red. You know what I'm saying? So then the fourth angel sounded, and the third of the sun was struck, a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that the third of them were darkened. A third day did not shine, and likewise the night. And I looked, and I heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe 1, Woe 2, Woe 3, World War 1, World War 2, finally to World War 3, that's what it's saying, to the inhabitants of the earth, because of the remaining blast of the trumpets of the three angels who are about to sound. Then the fifth angel sounded, and I saw, woe, woe, woe. It says, I saw a star falling from heaven to earth. To him was given the key to the bottomless pit. So the bottomless pit is talking about World War I and how it started. It says, then out of the smoke locusts came from upon the earth, and to them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. It says, they were commanded not to harm the grass of the earth or any green thing or any tree, but only those men who do not have the seal of Yahweh on their foreheads. That's how so the people that survived were because it was black people during the first woe, and they survived. Some of them survived because they had the mark of them, and God has spared their lives so they can bring about the generation of the elect all the way to this time from back then. It says, and they were not given authority to kill them, but to torment them. For for 5 months. Their torment was like the torment of a scorpion when it strikes a man. Bullets are like that, you know, because those locusts is talking about jet fighters, gunfighters. It says, and in those days men will seek death and will not find it. They will desire to die, and death will flee from them. Meaning that a lot of people, the majority of men that did survive, you know what I'm saying, Woe One, some got their arms shot off, some, you know what I'm saying, skid their brain, cut off arteries, you know. They didn't have anesthetics back in those days. You know, some of them got blown apart and still survived the explosion. And they could not find death. They could not die. They had to live like that. It says the shape of the locust was like horses prepared for battle. On their heads were crowns of something like gold. They talking about German fighters. And on the back of them was the Stinger, which is a AK automatic weapon, or AK-47 or whatever they had. And it was on the back of the gunfighter jets, shooting from the back and the front. It says something like gold, and their faces were like the faces of men. They had hair like women's hair, and their teeth were like lions' teeth. Remember, teeth shows power. And they had breastplates like breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was like the sound of chariots with many horses running into battle. That's some gunfighter jets. It says they had tails like scorpions, and there were stings in their tails. The back of the gunfighter jet is an automatic weapon. It says their power was to hurt men 5 months, and they had as a king over them the angel of the bottomless pit, and I forgot his name. It's a white man. It says whose name, and the bottomless pit is Russia. It says whose name in Hebrew was Abaddon. It says, but in Greek, his name is Apollyon. And it was talking about one of these white niggas that I forgot his name during history, that they call him the Destroyer too. That was another name for him. It says, and he opened the bottomless pit, which is Russia. That's where all whites come from, all devils come from. The bottomless pit, the entrance into it's like the main entrance into Petra, the underground, which is it's not hell, but it's a form of it for the Edomites. That's where they come from, the great underground. It says, and smoke arose out of the pit like the smoke of a great furnace. So the smoke arose out of the pit, meaning that's the wars and the chaos that came with it. And we about to close out after this. It says, then the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar, which was before Yahweh, saying to the sixth angel who had the trumpet, release the 4 angels who are bound at the river Euphrates. The river Euphrates is drying up because the time is near. It says, so the 4 angels who have been prepared for the hour, the day, and the month, and the year were released to kill 1/3 of mankind. Oops, I forgot. It says 1 woe has passed. Behold, 2 more woes are coming after these things. Exactly. 1 war has passed. The woe. It says, behold, 2 woes are coming after, and woe mean bad time or destruction. So it says, now the number of the army of horsemen was 200 million. I heard a number of them. It says, and thus I saw the horses in the vision, those who sat on them having breastplates fiery red, that's Germany, with the scarlet scarf to protect them from the oil flying out of it, because they didn't have no roof for they gunfighters. It says hyacinth blue and sulfur yellow, and the heads of the horses were like the heads of lions, and out of their mouths came fire, smoke, and brimstone. By these 3 plagues 1/3 of mankind was killed in the world war. It says, by the fire, the smoke, and the brimstone which came out of their mouths, for their power is in their mouth and in their tails. Gunfighters in the front, gunfighters in the back. It says, for their tails are like serpents, having heads, and with them they do harm. But the rest of mankind who were not killed by these plagues did not repent of their works, the works of their hands, that they should not worship demons and idols of gold, silver, brass, stone, and wood, which can neither see, nor hear, nor walk, and they did not repent. Murderers and their sorceries, or the sexual immorality, or their thefts. And for that right there, I'm going to stop. But that's the ultimate question. Are you prepared for the end of times, man? Because that was a lot of destruction. And I read a piece of the World War I to add on to that, because it was a lot of chaos back then. But it's going to be more chaos now than it is back then. So call on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakakadash in the name of Yahushai, and Shalom. It's on to the next video.